Good morning, Bickies. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning. We're not on holidays anymore, people. Easter holidays are finished. We're back on the biscuit saddle or the biscuit gravy train, as someone said it to me the other day. In Cork, where I'm from, did you know by the accent? um, Biscuits and gravy are a thing, actually. So it's quite apt that I should mention biscuits and gravy. Anyway, off topic, Tara. I hope you're all great and that you had a brilliant Easter break and you got some downtime to relax the mind and switch off a little bit and go jump in puddles. Yes, I've been watching Peppa Pig. So I hope everything was really nice for you and you had some downtime, which is super important for the creative mind. And I know how difficult it is because guess what? We are always on. Always, always, always. You can't switch off our creative mind. It's kind of impossible, but very powerful. That's why so many creative people need meditation, need time out, and need that space to think. Very powerful stuff. But we're not here this morning to talk about mindfulness or how important that is or how downtime is really important. This morning, I want to talk about rejection. This is a very interesting topic. And this topic was prompted by a conversation in Bite the Biscuit, which is, if you're new to Biscuit and you haven't got a clue what Bite the Biscuit is, it's our community page, Bite the Biscuit. So if you need to be surrounded by pretty lush people, positive energy, amazing support, fantastic resource for resources, double the resource thing. So if you need that support, if you're craving that and you're not already over in Bite the Biscuit and you're in a creative space, then hop over to Bite the Biscuit. Why am I telling you about this? Because something grabbed my attention the other day, or was it yesterday? Time is irrelevant in my brain. It doesn't exist. By a lovely man called Ian Delany. Ian is a great community member in Bite the Biscuit and an emerging artist, and he's really pushing himself to even call himself an artist. And I know how difficult that is for artists. I am an artist. It is a huge shift especially when you're starting on your journey. But what really grabs my attention with Ian and why I've invited him on this morning, and I know he's waiting to come on there, was and just to say that Ian, I messaged him last night going, come on, hop on with me tomorrow. So this is really impromptu. So what's important about this one is that rejection has such an impact on people, like not just creative people, right? It's a tough one to kind of digest. Being rejected from your creative work, being told that your work isn't good enough, has huge impact on a creative. Being rejected from an establishment that celebrates art and the love of art and is so recognized in the art world, being told that they think you're shite, that's how it feels. Is that the reality? That's what we're going to talk about this morning. Has huge impact. So I'm just going to try and add Ian to the broadcast and see, is he in with us? He came in there a second ago, but there was there's no image now with Ian. Ian, if you can hear me, you might check your camera. So I'm just going to talk while Ian fixes his lipstick, perhaps. And I just see who's in with me this morning to just dive into this subject. Hey Orla, how's it going? Hey Fiona, hey Elle, how are you? Hey Breda, hey Emma, hey Danielle, good morning, beautiful morning. Danielle, I'm mirroring your lovely live streams where you always say it's a beautiful morning for a walk, and Danielle's out there breathing the air. Hey Danielle, it is a beautiful morning out there. So I'm just gonna wait for Ian to to sort out the old tech there. But I want to talk about that rejection thing, and specifically with the RHA. So if you are not familiar with the RHA is the Royal Hibernian Academy, and it is a like a landmark in Irish art society, and these guys are very serious about art and celebrate a lot of academia around art, which has its place and is really important for art and artists and the change and diversity and the impact art has on society. And there is that beautiful place in the world for all of that stuff. But I'm interested in people behind the art, and I'm in what Biscuit is all about is ye guys. It's how these kind of establishments can affect artists, and and I don't think there's any right or wrong in this conversation. I think the important thing is the conversation is not, let's not hide behind the real emotion that's attached to this type of thing. The real impact that institutions like this have on you as a creative mind. And we're not trying to fix it. We're not trying to change it. We're not trying to hate everything, because I don't think that's healthy. I think there has to be an understanding. There has to be a conversation. And as we all know, the amazing thing when you get people together to talk about topics is knowing you're not the only one. The support that you feel from not being the only one that gets rejected, right? That's important. Ian's ready there now. He has his lipstick on. I'm going to, he'll kill me for saying that. I'm going to bring him in there now. I was sweating there, Ian.
Hi, Tara.
There with the
a little bit of technical difficulties.
And it happens every single time I do this live.
I just couldn't get the shade of lipstick right, so I couldn't.
I knew it was the lipstick. You're going for the nude look this morning.
Along them lines, yeah.
Thank you so much for the very impromptu. Come on, sure, hop on live with me. And I know you're in between meetings and you're in the car, and I just love that. So thank you so much for taking the time out this morning.
Oh, no, honestly, it's my honor, so it is to be here, Tara.
Great. Thanks a million, Ian. So I was just blabbing on there about, as usual, about the RHA thing, and this really sparked a lot of attention in the Biscuit group, and I know you did a live on your page yesterday, and I'd love you to share that. Just what happened, like what's the crack?
Yeah, I just wanted to do the post. When I did the post, I wanted to try and express a feeling, and when I followed that up then with the video as well, just to kind of to progress a little bit on that. And it's something that was like, when as an artist, and now I can say I'm an artist, right? But as an artist, as starting off, it was such a scary thing, and you're always you're doubting yourself in many ways, and especially when you're at the beginning of your journey and you're starting. So back then, I would have sent off probably quite a lot of things to galleries. I applied for the RHA last year as well, and it was unselected, that way. And I've absolutely no grudge or no gripes about that, because it's their business as well. So, they're perfectly entitled to select who they wish. But I kind of felt at the beginning of my journey as an artist, because I was so vulnerable, and because art thing, it's hard not to take it personally in many ways, because it is, it's not a product that you have. It's you. You are the product, because that's your painting is the product. So taking those hits, probably from about 2014 on, I got quite a few rejections from galleries and other places, things like that. And it does knock your confidence, and it does who am I? Like, am I fooling myself here? Am I kidding myself here? Like, maybe I'll never be an artist. Maybe I'll never be, be good enough, like, for this. And it did hurt, but I kind of gone on a bit of a journey with that as well. And now I've kind of come to realize, what does it mean to be an artist? Like, who tells you that you're an artist? Who actually is the one? Like, is there you have to sell at least one painting and then you become an artist? No, you are an artist. And this is where I've come, almost on a journey to get this and get rid of the, I'm an imposter, I'm a fake, I'm all of this. Like, no, you're like, I'm an artist. I can say it. It's sitting on my shoulders now. And being kind of taking these knockbacks really hurt at the beginning because I was much more vulnerable. But I did say in my post the first time now about the RHA this year, I didn't even blink. Like, I was, obviously you're disappointed. You'd rather be selected than unselected, but I didn't blink because I knew that they were not the judges of me as such. That was their business, and that was their, and their thing. But they're not the judge of me. They're not to be able to say, and it's taken me a long road to get here to be able to say that. And it's not an easy thing. And I know for people that are starting off and people that are at the start of their journey, don't let these people, or don't let these things like this knock you back and doubt yourself. And that's easier said than done, and you have to do an awful lot of work to do that. But I had a bit of a light bulb. I'm sorry, Tara, if I'm talking too much.
No, you're great. You're great. No, but this is important, and I think I think you're highlighting something that isn't talked about publicly too much, and I think that is the gold. Just like anything, when people are fearful, the whole imposter syndrome, and we talk a lot about this in the Bicky community about who am I to be doing this, that confidence thing on, just keep going with your stuff, and you don't need external people to validate you in your, with the passion of what you want to do. But the reality is that these type of institutions are so dominant that it's kind of like the holy grail of, if I get in there, that'll prove to myself that I am at that level.
Oh my God, that's so true. Yeah.
But then what is that level? Is it necessary to your work, or is it that sale that's necessary? Is it like, is it getting out and talking to customers and people that actually get your work and will give you money for your work? Is that the validation that you need? But in the art world, it's quite different, because there are nearly these pillars of judgment on, well, if you're not in there, you're not talking to those people, or you're not in that gallery, you're shit. Like, so, that's what it feels like. It's not really, is it the reality? I don't know. Like, I just think talking about it is important, isn't it, Ian?
It is, and it's massive, because, like, I'll be honest with you, I was all alone, because I'm self-taught. Like, I'd never done, I never went to college. I got offered a place in college and chickened out in my younger days, like, that way. But I was, when I went back, I came back painting in 2011, and up until about 2014, I just completely painted to myself. I didn't show anybody. Just, it was a labour of love that I was doing. And it was my amazing wife that you probably know, Amanda. She was the one that pushed me out and said, these are amazing. The world needs to see these. But as a completely person that was all alone in terms of art world, I didn't know where to go or what to do. So I instantly went to go to, okay, well, I presume you put your paintings in a gallery. That's what artists do. I didn't know any different. So I submitted all my paintings to be into the galleries, and was just getting knocked back. And that made me think, well, maybe I amn't an artist. Maybe I'm just not good enough to be one. And I didn't know any different, because that was me on my own. And it was only when I came to, as I got a little bit along, I started to interact with groups like Bite the Biscuit, that you actually meet other artists and you go, wow, everybody's just so much like me. They have the same doubts as me. They have the same, fears as me. Like, and that then led me to realize that you are an artist. You know, it doesn't know who's going to tell you that you aren't. As long as you're creating something beautiful from inside you, you're an artist. And it doesn't matter how many paintings you sell, or how many sculptures you sell, or how many pieces of jewelry you sell. As long as it's from you and you've given 100% of what's inside you, you can say that's the best that I can do. And that is like, that's my art, and that's what it is. You know? And nobody, whether it's an institution or a person, should be able to tell you any different, you know, or reject you. That's just their opinion. And that's the biggest one. Like, I came, I've done a bit of work on myself as well, and positive, you know, there's a great page that I've been on as well called I Am Positive, and an amazing lady, Nicola Connolly, really taught me something powerful a few months ago, and she said it's your ego, right? And I never actually I just presumed ego is something that people walk around with a big puffed out chest, but everybody has a little ego, and sometimes it's like a little small child where, you know, you just want somebody to say that's great, like, and that validates what you're doing, you know. So people's egos are different sizes or whatever, but it's your ego that is what's determining whether these things affect you or not. Whether somebody saying, no, you're unselected is going to affect you or not. And really, you need to get rid of that ego. That's why I said, kick it out the window, let it go, and accept, you know, and by all means submit into these places. But if you do not get selected, that doesn't lessen you or lessen your work in any shape or form. Like, and it's easier maybe to say than to feel, because, you know, and I know I've had some fantastic comments on the thread, and such fantastic support on the thread in the Bite the Biscuit group, just on this subject alone. And some of the things have been there's such wisdom there, and I've even learned so much just from some of them comments. But I actually going to, if you don't mind, I'm going to say one particular guy. I hope she won't mind me naming her name, but I got this fantastic message from Niamh O'Connor that made me smile from ear to ear, and she's so beautiful. And she said, being unselected for the RHA is a badge of honor, and I laughed.
Oh, Niamh's watching live there now, so you can there you go, girl, well done.
But it's that thing to get rid of your ego, and don't judgment stop you or pause you or anything like that. You press on and do what you're doing, you know.
And I think that's very smart. And I also think that for creative people to understand as well, that, as you said when you came in, Ian, that the RHA is a business, and these guys have their brief as well for what they need to pick to make the thing work. So it's not necessarily a reflection on your work. It's a reflection on, you know, what other pieces have been picked and how does it work together. Lorna Watkins, she's a Bicky, was on to me this morning, and she was telling me, you know, from a curation perspective, there's all these things that they have to take into consideration. You know,
100% imagine,
yeah, and I think the more that is shared out as well, that, you know, it's not just the work. Like, and one thing that Lorna highlighted, that not many people think about, is because she's been on a curation team for picking for these kind of awardee things as well, is the framing of your work. That they really look at how the work is framed. I didn't even think about that. I thought, because if you think about it, if you go into a big exhibition, their remit is they need to make sales, right? They take like 35% commission on sales. So that's how they make their money, right? So they have to have it looking a certain way, feeling a certain way, the whole thing. So if one is off, and even if the piece is outstanding and the frame is wrong, they won't pick it.
They won't pick it, And there's all things that you'd love somebody to do a live video to explain these things, because again, like most of us are either new or have had bad experiences in the past, like, and you don't understand these things. There's always two sides to every story, like, you know, that basically.
And I think as well, even from submitting to galleries as well, you know, it's that whole thing. And wouldn't that be an interesting live? And I must kind of follow this up, to get somebody in from the RHA or a gallery to explain to us, what are you looking for? Like, tell us the
Yeah.
step one, step two, step three. Like,
Yeah.
hear it, because when you don't get any feedback, I'm sure they
Yeah. So,
give you any feedback. They just went, no, now go away. Like, that's
yeah, you just get that you in the post, and that's all you get. You don't say, you know, they don't give you, and I'm sure they don't have time, and they, you know, because there's so many paintings, and
of
you
course.
totally get that. And as I said to you, I've not in any shape or form putting up the post to ditch or I'm not disgruntled. It's just, it's the whole element of it. It is not to take it personally, but that's not that easy for artists, you know, that way, because it is so personal, you know, that way. And but yeah,
yeah, we're kind of in that little, like, you're in this little hold of, but I know what I should not do, but it's really hard. It's like, it's because you're so emotionally attached to your work. It's like just stripping off naked. Am I beautiful?
yeah,
no.
that's
You know, that's hard to
it
do.
is that's what I said in the video. It is like holding out your heart in your hand for people to either crush or raise it up, like, you know, that way. It is what it is because of it's our art, you know. But but the thing what I really was hoping and was probably why I put the post up was that last year I was unselected from the RHA and I licked my wounds for several weeks afterwards, but I had no conversation with anybody, or I had no education off anybody about it. It was just, that's it, unselected, gone, finito. If you talk about these things, people learn from these things. I hope they learn from these things, and we learn off these things, like, you know. So it's to open up communication to say to people, it's okay if somebody says no, or it's okay if somebody says, you know, that as long as you're happy in yourself, and as long as you 100% know that this is your love and this is your art, then it's okay, you know, that way. So I hope maybe something has been achieved from that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know what, you're spot on. And sure, you know, the way I think about things, and sure, Amanda's the same with I share Amanda's group, Ian, as well, with people.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Amanda runs a group called We Can and We Will, and it's a really positive page, and it's a really positive for both business people and for ordinary people as well, and just a couple of the artists on it as well. And it is just about uplifting people, as she says. Don't be afraid of heights, because I'm going to lift you up. Like, that's her slogan.
That's brilliant. But that's such an inspiring space to surround yourself with, like, you know. And I think just like how rejection is really hard to digest, it's how you digest it. It's whatever way you're going to get it from different areas of your life. It's how you deal with it. That's the important bit. Like, that's what changes your reality, isn't it? You know. Ian, you're a star. Like, thank you so much. And you were amazing to hop on and do that live and just share that message out, like, yesterday with everybody. And I think the more people that share their stories and their insights and how it really makes them feel, you know, that'll empower everybody. And yes, we will all learn from that. So brilliant. Thank you so much, Ian. I know
Thank you for having me on, Tara.
My pleasure, and I hope to see you soon. And who knows, this time next year you could be going.
Yeah, and just, if I can just say myself as well, just to say thank you to you, but also thank you to all the other members of the Bite the Biscuit group, because they're so supportive and so encouraging, not just to myself but to all the other artists as well. And it is just so important, because I was along on that artist journey. And it is a scary place when you're on your own, but when you're in a group like this, it is really special. So thank you very much for putting it all together.
No worries. Sure, look, it's for the benefit of the world, isn't it? Like, the stronger creative people are, and the more work that we make, the better the world would be. Like, you know. And I just think it's a big vision of what we can all do together, Ian. Definitely.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Brilliant. So thanks so much. You're a star, Bar, and have a great day. And I will see you soon. Thanks, Ian.
Yeah, great stuff. Thanks a million, Tara. Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye. Bye. So, gang, thank you so much for tuning in. I'd love to hear if you have any comments or stories. I know there's a few people commenting in here. Violet says the Visual Arts Ireland are good for information on this kind of thing. So that's brilliant, Violet, to go over there and get the resources if you're looking for stuff over there. Hang on, who else is talking to me? Emma says, hey Emma says there's definitely some gallery owners in Bite the Biscuit. Maybe we'll see this. I think that would be an interesting live, wouldn't it? Is to just get the insight from a different perspective, because I know being rejected from when you put your work into to try and get galleries to show your work or get it accepted, and competitions and all this thing, it's really hard to digest that and accept that, you know, and it affects your confidence with what you do. So so don't let it stop you. But I always think knowledge is everything. The more knowledge you have about something, the more confident you're going to be when you do decide to dive into that world again. So all the people that rejected from the RHA, fair play to you for putting it in there in the first place, right? Feel the fear and do it anyway, gang. Have a great week. And I'd love in the thread, if you're watching the replay or if you're watching live, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and any insight or any tips on how you deal with being rejected. Next week, we're going to talk to Carmel Siri all about, I'm just going to vomit, sorry, Carmel, but all about numbers and what you need to do when you're setting up your creative business from the accounting side of things. So it's going to be hands-on, what I need to do, step 1, step 2, step 3. Here's the information. Now go do it. Okay, gang, I'll see you next Wednesday, 11 o'clock, the Biscuit Box. Have a great week. Keep creative and talk to you next week. Bye.